You mentioned stock to flow. I know you follow Plan B quite a lot as well. I know you're a macro guy, so you really get this. Can you maybe just explain to us what stock to flow is and why that makes so much sense in the Bitcoin context?
Well, this guy Plan B, I saw him write on Twitter. He's an unknown person. I've spoken to him, but I don't know actually his name. He's a Dutchman working for a family office in Holland, and he's a econometrician. And so what he'd done is using the same idea that I'd had, but with much more sophisticated methodology. He just said, okay, well, usually rare assets have a stock to flow, which means their valuation is based on how much new supply can come on versus the total supply. Now, Bitcoin, if you think about it, it's 21 million Bitcoins. So by the time you're at 18 million Bitcoins, you've only got 3 million left to come, and they come at a certain rate. So that's the stock that's also above ground now, or that has been mined. And then the flow is what comes on top. So it's a decreasing amount versus the total amount. And that makes it rare. And that's the same attribute that gold has. And it actually is the same attribute silver has, diamonds have, and certain other assets. So his idea was to prove it mathematically. So he looked at it and said, okay, if I put it in statistical analysis, I can look to prove that this is the case. And that's what he did in his work. He proved that it basically follows this linear path of price appreciation based around its rarity. Now, it assumes there's an amount of demand for it, because you can have a rare asset with no demand, in which case it doesn't work. But if you've got a relatively steady demand for something, or an increasing demand, what you get is a price that moves in a linear fashion according to its stock to flow. So when stock becomes a much larger part of the flow, it tends to appreciate in price. And when he put all assets on this, what he found is that Bitcoin was kind of the rarest of all, because as you get towards that 21 million, you end up with no flow at all. So also what's interesting and unique about Bitcoin is the fact that within the algorithm is a way of throttling back new supply. So in mining, how that tends to happen is it's driven by cost. So mining of gold, it's driven by cost and technology, and also the boom bust cycle of commodities. So when the gold price goes up a lot of people go in, they mine more of it, and the price drops. But with Bitcoin, you can't do that because of how it's actually physically limited in supply by the mathematical formula that's underlying it. So it has a very, very unique thing. And when I saw him write about it, it was just like, wow, yeah, incredible to understand what makes it so rare. And there's a fantastic book, if anybody's on the journey of going down the rabbit hole of understanding this, called The Bitcoin Standard by Safety and Amos, who's also speaking at the Real Vision Crypto Gathering event. That tells you and shows you the relationship that hard assets have for value, and why humans value certain things that wouldn't ordinarily have a value. There's no real reason a shiny gold metal has value. Yes, in the element, of all of the elements, it is one of the rarest and also one of the most durable, and it can never be destroyed. So there's some certain elements, but humans attach value to those things because it allows us to store value and transfer value and devise things into smaller increments. So that's the system of money. And that's what Bitcoin slots into a new version of digital money.